What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, this is an important video. We're going to go over the new stimulus bill that has been just released by the Republicans. And we're going to go over the details of what's in it and what's not in it. It's going to make some people happy and some people not happy. I'm going to give you all the details of that in this video. But first, if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check updates and unemployment extension updates. My wife and I do all the research for you every single day, and we bring you all that information in a quick, concise video. Also, don't forget to smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. Okay, the Senate has released their new stimulus bill that they have been working on for several days. And I'm going to tell you what's in it, what's not in it, and all the details of really what all this means. So let's get right into it. This is an important video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end so you can get all the details, because there's several different things in this bill, and I want you to just understand what they mean. Okay, as you can see here, Senate GOP, which stands for Grand Ole Party, aka the Republican Party, has unveiled their slimmed down virus relief bill, aka stimulus bill. Senate Republicans on Tuesday unveiled a pared down stimulus package as they prepare to force a vote on the legislation as soon as this week. The bill, released by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, aka Mitch Better Have My Money with an M, includes a $300 per week federal unemployment benefit through the end of the year. So that's one good thing that they have introduced in this bill is $300 per week federal unemployment boost money or extension money to the end of the year. Currently, states are getting $300 to $400. There's only a few states getting $400. Most states are getting $300 of unemployment boost money on top of their regular unemployment money from the states. That is good news for the currently 29 million Americans that are receiving these unemployment benefits right now. That's about 20% of the workforce. And that's really good news because this money is set to expire this week, or actually I should say this money is set to run out this week, because the presidential executive order that was passed is using the money earmarked from the disaster relief fund, and that money is running out. FEMA has said that money will run out within the next week or so. So this would be good news if they can pass this bill. That's a big asterisk. I'll get to that here in just a minute. The next thing in this bill is another round of PPP money, Paycheck Protection Program money. Now, what that does is that gives money to small businesses. PPP money is Paycheck Protection Program, and they have to use that on the payroll or the paychecks of their employees. So what that does is that helps small business owners who are going out of business in record numbers right now. It gives them money to pay for their employees, so it helps keep them in business, and it helps keep small business employees, people that work for small businesses, in their jobs and not on unemployment, and keeps them working. It keeps the American workforce going, and basically it just helps out small businesses and the people that work for the small businesses, which again is many, many millions of people. The next thing in this bill is funding and liability protections for virus-related lawsuits. Okay, this is a very Republican thing. The Republicans really want this, and the Democrats don't really want this, and this is money to protect businesses from virus-related lawsuits unless the business is grossly negligent. This is something that the Republicans have wanted for months and haven't been able to pass it because they haven't come on a stimulus package agreement. Now, we don't know exactly how this will work until they pass this and there's actually details into law, but my guess is that either businesses will just be immune from it, or the government will provide money, billions of dollars, in like a trust fund, an insurance fund, that any lawsuits that happen, the government will pay for that based on, the money going to the people that are, dealing with the virus and have sued a business. Then the government would step in and pay that lawsuit money, but that's still to be determined. Okay, next up, it also includes $105 billion for schools and an additional $16 billion for virus testing. Again, this is really good news. Many schools need funding right now, especially because they're having to do a lot of additional services such as online teaching and additional cleaning and buying UV systems for their filtration to prevent the virus from spreading and all sorts of different filtration systems and cleaning systems and all sorts of things that a lot of kindergarten through 12 schools needs and some money to colleges. In addition to that, you also seen that there's $16 billion for testing, and this is basically to do testing on the virus and also trace where it comes from and who has it so they can prevent the spread of it. Mitch McConnell's office did not release a price tag for the forthcoming bill, though it is largely expected to cost around $500 billion, about half of the $1 trillion package Republicans previously unveiled in July. Unlike the previous Republican proposal, the legislation put forth on Tuesday does not include another round of stimulus checks. Now, that is unfortunate. They do have a lot of things that help people, but as I know you guys have said in thousands of comments on this video, a lot of you guys don't qualify for unemployment, you don't have a small business, and you're just basically looking for a stimulus check. So it's interesting that they didn't put it in this bill because the Republicans did put it in their previous bill of the HEALS Act, and also the Democrats put it in their last previous bill, the HEROES Act. So both the Democrats and the Republicans have both had bills that had $1,200 stimulus checks. So it's interesting that they didn't put it in this bill. Well, we're going to talk about why that's not a big deal. You know what? Let's just talk about that right now. So, first off, out of the bat, the initial reaction is from the Democrats that they are saying it's a non starter and they don't want to pass this bill. And I'll tell you why that's important here in a second. Here is what the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi are saying. Democrats have already declared that the Republican bill is a non starter, underscoring the difficulties to getting legislation that can pass Congress, earn President Trump's signature, and become law so close to Election Day. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer said in a joint statement that Senate Republicans appear dead set on another bill which doesn't come close to addressing the problems and is headed nowhere. If anyone doubts Mitch McConnell's true intent is anything but political, just look at this bill. This proposal is laden with poison pills Republicans know Democrats would never support. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer said in a joint statement. Now, that's interesting that they say that because literally just yesterday, President Trump came on and said that Democrats don't want to do a stimulus deal before the election because they don't want him to be reelected. And they know that if they pass more stimulus right now before the election, that it will help his chances of getting reelected because it will mean that millions more people end up voting for him. So, what does this all mean? This all means that the bill from the Republicans is unlikely to get passed because they need to pass it in the House, which is controlled by the Democrats, which probably won't happen. Okay? The Republicans did also state this week that this would be a starting point for negotiations. And why even come out with a bill if it's just a starting point? I mean, they are negotiating between the Republicans and the Democrats, behind closed doors. They've been negotiating now for a week. Why introduce a bill if it's just a starting point and you have a pretty good chance that the Democrats aren't going to agree to it? But that's politics. Apparently that's how they work. That's why I've been saying a lot of times that the negotiations is really the most important part to getting a stimulus package, but it's actually maybe taking a back seat to the president possibly being the most important part to getting a stimulus check out to Americans. And it's funny, I was reading a comment on my past video that basically predicted the future. And if I can find it, I'll pop it up on the screen. But, there's like 3,000 comments on that video already. And it said something like, I'll bet you that the Republicans will release the bill. and the Democrats will say it's dead on arrival and they don't want to pass it, and that will set the stage for Trump to pass it through a presidential executive order. And boy, man, he knew exactly what was going on. That was a good call, and that is probably what's going to be the big next stage for us. And that is because President Donald Trump on Friday, I believe it was, announced that there's $300 billion sitting in a fund that is unused from the first stimulus package, and he wants to use it to send out stimulus checks directly to the people. And basically, his words were that he wants to have Congress approve it, but if the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on this, that he wants to basically pass these stimulus checks and send them out before the elections and to pass them through a presidential executive order. And I honestly think that that is the most likely thing to happen at this point. I think the second most likely thing is that Nancy Pelosi and the White House will agree on a larger stimulus package around $2 trillion. They're less than $1 trillion away right now, and they bridged that gap by $500 billion last week through negotiations. So honestly, I think that either the president's going to pass a presidential executive order and get those stimulus checks out before the election, or the White House is basically just going to say, okay, Democrats, we give in. We're willing to spend $2 trillion. You're at 2.2 trillion. Come that last little 10% of the way, and we'll have a deal. The biggest problem with that is that Nancy Pelosi won't tell them what she wants to spend the $2.2 trillion on. And they've asked her repeatedly, and she simply won't tell them what she wants to spend the money on, basically insinuating that she wants a blank check. She hasn't said the words blank check. I've had a lot of people asking about that. She hasn't said the word blank check, but what she said is that she wants $2.2 trillion and she refuses to tell them what she will spend the money on. So that's basically like, hey, I want $2.2 trillion. I want a blank check because I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to spend the money on. Just give me $2.2 trillion and tell me you agree to it, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to spend the money on. Well, I mean, does the world work that way? Does she get to decide where to spend $2 trillion on? I mean, that's craziness. I mean, that's why I totally agree that we should never ever have both the House and the Senate and the presidency controlled by one party. And that's what could happen in the future because the Senate only needs a few seats to switch over to Democrat to have the Senate controlled by the Democrats, and they would have the House and the Senate. And Joe Biden is currently leading in the polls over President Trump, although it's slimming down and is becoming a smaller and smaller margin depending on which poll you look at. But they only need a few votes in the Senate or a few seats in the Senate, and they could have the House and the Senate and possibly even the presidency. And again, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but I don't really feel like it's a good idea for either party to have control of everything because they would just be passing bills left and right, just craziness, just $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there. Let's spend it on this, let's spend it on that, and it would just be like Nancy Pelosi would have a blank check to spend trillions of dollars on anything they want, and the Republicans couldn't do anything about it. And on the other side, I don't think that the Republicans should ever control everything either, because I just don't feel like it's a good idea for either party to have complete control over the United States. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, but that's how I feel. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you've hit the like button for me down below on this video. I will keep you updated as the information on this rolls out and what's going to go on with the negotiations and the presidential executive order. We're going to have a lot of news coming out about this this week. So stay tuned. I have videos going live at 10 a.m. 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you don't miss out on those videos, and you can click the bell icon next to the subscribe button down below if you want to get notified when I go live. You can click on these top videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next, and this bottom video is that announcement by President Trump where he wants to do the presidential executive order. This video teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.